that they can't be oh, okay. You can't tell someone that they can't be offended by something. You can tell them you didn't mean to offend them, but to tell somebody like, to tell somebody like, hey, you can't be offended by that. It's like, well, I don't think you get to tell me that.
Tia.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
What up?
Hold on, I got to get back. All right, hey, Tia.
Have you guys, so I don't know if any of you have ever lived in an apartment, so I don't know if it like goes for people who live in houses, but has it ever been where you're living somewhere and, you know, you're waiting for a FedEx and then you look at your phone and it says FedEx attempted delivery, person wasn't home. And I'm like, I've been home all day. You never rang the bell. And so that was like the BS that I was dealing with before this.
It works for homes too. UPS is supposed to pick up a package from me, and I get an email saying, we attempted to pick up the package. No one answered the door. So I called and I was just like, well, did the driver say he rang the doorbell? No. Did he knock on the door? No. Well, then what attempt did he make to see if I was home?
I guess they expect, it's almost like they expect you to just have a video doorbell or something that's watching that alerts you. But they're never on time either.
They're never on time. They say, oh, they're going to be here by a certain time. And first of all, it's such a blanket like thing. It was so frustrating. And then I called and I'm like, well, can I just come pick it up? And they're like, no, the suppliers has a thing where like, no, it has to be delivered. And I'm like,
yeah, I don't like blanket times because you're holding me hostage. Don't tell me
like 8 hours. It'd be like 8 hours.
Yeah, don't tell me. Yeah, your cable guy will be here between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. It's like, what? What am I supposed to do all day?
Exactly.
That's gonna be me tomorrow with I'm getting my internet finally fixed. And it's like a blanket of 4 hours. And it's like, I'd like if we could do appointments. I mean, everything else is an appointment. Why can't you have appointments?
Yeah. Like if you run a little behind, that's fine. I don't mind you being late. You know, like if something went a little long somewhere else, now you need a lunch break and then you'll be to me within the hour. Cool, no problem. But to tell me I am a hostage in my home.
And they always show up like the last 30 minutes of that 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
And then they try to rush it. Like, all right, I know you get off soon, but nah, it ain't my fault you came right before you're supposed to
do mine right.
That happened years ago. I was ordering edible arrangements for my mom. And granted, it was Mother's Day, so I understand things are busy. But it's like, this will be delivered in between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. literally. And I'm like, what? So then I was just like, I'll just come pick it up, which by the way is the most ridiculous thing because, you know, edible arrangements are very top heavy. So it like fell down a bunch of times in my car. It was just such a mess.
Yeah, it's never, you would think, to think that the Jetsons thought we would be in hover
so advanced.
Yeah,
We're not.
I can't even get a cable guy here, and you thought I would be floating above air.
Yeah.
But welcome everybody to an all new episode of Marvel Cinematic Review, the MCR of the MCU. We will be breaking down What If. I believe there's 12 episodes to this? 8 episodes?
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's many. I think there's like either 8 or 12. Because Tia, me, you, and Dom only got 3?
The 3.
Yeah, we only got the 3, so that's really all we know is the 3. We don't know anything beyond that. But this episode was about Peggy becoming Captain Carter. Part of me kind of wishes she had become Captain Britain. I don't know why.
That's what I expected them to say. Like, can I interrupt really quick?
Right?
Yeah,
like I love this episode. I'm just gonna put that out right now. I absolutely love this episode. But when they're like, let's give it for Captain Carter, I'm like, she doesn't become Captain Britain. I'm like, she has the symbol right on her chest right there.
I mean, I think what not frustrated me, I'm sorry, that's the wrong choice of words. I think what confused me the most was she was protecting America in non-American representation. So it was just like, well, that's not us. Like that's not our color. I thought she was literally going to just become Captain America, but just be called Captain Carter, which I would have been fine with. But once you have the look of Captain Britain, it's just like, well, it was right there, like literally right there in your hands.
Wasn't that always?
Oh, you broke up.
Wasn't that something that was pointed out in the first Avenger? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. What was pointed out?
Wasn't that pointed out in the first Avenger that she's British and she was on like the American side? Like, wasn't that something even like pointed out?
Yeah, but I mean, I understand that because as we know, Natasha's Russian. Yeah. And we know she defected to the US to fight for so I get that. That's not a problem. It's just you either are Captain America or you're Captain Britain. Captain Carter was just like, well, I don't think we call him Captain Steve or Captain Rogers, it's Captain America. So, but anyway, I love this episode. This was a great first step in the world of What If. By the way, she turned into like fucking Brock Lesnar when she came out of that machine. It was even more glaring. I think because we know Chris Evans is just that big in real life, seeing him go from that little stick figure was just like, oh, okay, that's what he really looks like.
Right.
But to see her go from an actual regular sized person to this big brolic person was just like, I'm terrified. This is scary. But no, I thought this was awesome. I do like all of the changes, the small changes they made from the first Avenger. For example, one of the changes was in the first Avenger, the doctor asked Peggy if she would prefer to watch it from the booth upstairs, and she actually did go up to the booth upstairs along with everybody else. Weirdly, in this, her saying she'll stay downstairs made everybody else decide to stay downstairs, which I thought was weird. Everyone was kind of just like, oh, she wants to stay? I'll stay too. It's like, okay, all right, that was weird.
I thought she was eating and press the red button, man.
Right? I thought she should go, what does this do? But no, I mean, I thought this was great. I like the changes they made. I think the one that sticks out to me the most, because I want to see how it plays out. Technically, Howard created the first Iron Man armor. So now I am meant to believe that when Tony does it, he models it after what he knows his dad did, rather than just creating it on his own. So that would be interesting. And that changes the whole trajectory of Howard, because Stark grew up with Howard creating nuclear weapons. But if he can make suits like that, you would assume he just made more stuff like that.
And he also had the Tesseract too to make the suit, right? So that was a difference.
Right. Too. Well, in the first Avenger, he did toy around with the Tesseract a little bit, but he never really made anything like that. Yeah. So that's also what changed from What If. But I'm sorry, what were you saying, Tia?
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, that's this timeline, so like you're saying for this timeline, it's different when Tony makes his suit, it'll be inspired by that Iron Man. That's what you're saying.
Oh no, I'm saying I assume if the events still fall the same, like if Tony still gets kidnapped, I don't know, because this could be a whole trajectory change for everything. I'm just saying, if in this timeline that plays out that way, we now know Tony didn't just create that off whim. He created it off of muscle memory. His dad created the first one. But no, it doesn't change anything from the MCU that we know. Right. I just mean from whatever timeline this is meant to be in. But actually, I'll start with you, Dom. What were your thoughts on this episode?
Man, as you were just talking, I was just thinking like, man, so I wonder what that going forward, what that would mean for Bucky or a Winter Soldier program, and would it be him? Would it be somebody else? And it does. I
thought Steve was going to become the Winter Soldier in the episode, so I was surprised he didn't.
And that'd be cool. of her and Steve, like, because at first when she came out and she's all broad, like, you couldn't tell at first. You're like, did she get bigger? And then Steve was like, oh, you're like, oh, she's gigantic. Okay, she's an Amazon now. Now I love the animation was kind of like rotoscope, where it's kind of like the actor's there and they just kind of drew over the actor. I like the way it looked.
It was very Disney. It was very Disney.
It looked really, really good. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, there's so much thoughts that come after watching an episode where you're just okay. So if she's this, and then where does this happen? And there would be Avengers form in a different way, and who's gonna play this? You know what I mean? So there's just so much that could, I don't know how they're gonna do with if one episode becomes like the most popular or has the most fan theories. If they dive into a whole series of just continuation of that what if thing, because this is one where I kind of like to see what it leads to. Even just a glimpse of like, if they just show like flashes of like what the Avengers look like with her as possibly the leader. What happens if like the Infinity Stones come into play? Is it actually going to be Thanos, or is it going to be somebody else that is trying to take over? So I love the episode. Like this is one of the best ideas they could have done, because it just lets our imagination run wild. And this is what we do. We were like, oh yeah, I wonder if this would happen, and now we kind of get to see it play out. So I had a lot of fun with it. I was thinking about what if all day, but it was more like what if it wasn't so hot in Tennessee. But other than that, it's a lot of fun.
I like that. I like what if Tennessee was only cold every day. It's like I'm going, no, go back. I don't like this cold. No, I mean there was a car commercial that aired today, I believe, of What If, and it looks as if some of the characters we've seen from the trailer are forming their own Avengers team. So it will be interesting to see how far they go with that. We know it's already been renewed for a season 2. A season 2 all new what ifs. One of my personal favorite what ifs is what if the world knew Daredevil was blind? Which is, you think about it and you go, it sounds really messed up, but it is and here's the thing. It doesn't really kind of level the playing field for the bad guy, because clearly we know what Daredevil can do without his eyes. But at least he can't see me. You really face the idea of, I did not know he could not see me. I thought he was looking right at me this whole time. I'll just move quieter. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
So, it's a really interesting concept. There was also a what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? What if the Avengers defeated everybody? Like, there's plenty of what ifs they can go to. And I thought it was really interesting that the showrunner said that Marvel was very specific that they had to play with the toys that already exist. They weren't allowed to use Fantastic Four. You weren't allowed to use X-Men, which sucks because this would have been a perfect moment to retcon when Peggy saved Bucky's team. James Howlett, aka Wolverine, could have been part of that team that she was rescuing. So I'm like, there's some fun stuff they can do going forward that they definitely couldn't do now. But it's just fun to know that the toy box will open up bigger the further we go through the MCU, like a what if with Blade, a what if with maybe Venom or Fantastic Four or whatnot. So they have a lot of different, hell, the showrunner said he tried to throw Luke Skywalker up in this thing. And it's like, what? He's like, I tried. They were like, no. I'm just like, what? What were you even going to do with Luke Skywalker in this world? But that's what you can do now that Disney literally owns all the good shit. It's like, well, you can play with Darth Vader. What if Darth Vader took on Thanos? You could do fun stuff like that.
Stop. That's actually really cool.
That would be really good. That would be really good.
So I wonder if they're gonna do this, like, instead of doing like at the end of every phase, if they just do it at the end of every year of movies, since we're gonna get new characters, new villains, or if they just kind of roll them out every season after every chunk of movies that they're going to put out, or even maybe before a new chunk comes through, so you can get your brain kind of going of like what could possibly happen, even though it may not happen.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this kind of like anyone that's ever watched it, how it should have ended. Animated, how it should have ended. It's like it's like that. Like I would like it like, all right, so Infinity War ends, and then you have a what if they beat Thanos, you know? And it's like literally following the events of that movie, but turn it on its head. I would like that because, you know, I think we leave every movie kind of going, well, what if he didn't? You know, what if Stark didn't get to his heart at the end of the first Iron Man? You know what I'm saying? What if Rhodey got there and Stark had already died? Who would have stopped Ironmonger? Would Rhodey have suited up? You know, like, what if literally following each movie would have been so much fun? Seeing how things play out. If you just twist it just a little bit, nothing too crazy, just a little bit.
What if Tony had was able to get his hands on the Infinity Stones during Age of Ultron when he was in that kind of mindset of like, I have to protect everyone and make sure nothing bad happens, and he turns into a villain essentially.
Yeah, what if Tony was their Thanos? Yeah. Absolutely. The guy, because he's essentially Batman. He knows how to take down everybody. So picture someone with that much knowledge having that much power and then being corrupted by it.
What if Ultron wasn't such a bad villain? Sorry, Dom. What a better movie.
Though I can picture Tia as just like, what if we didn't have a need for Hawkeye? What if Natasha survived? And
that's it. Perfect. What if Hawkeye?
Wait, hold on.
Cliff?
Here we go.
I could see Tia's what if Natasha survived instead of Clint, and it's just Tia standing behind Clint and Natasha while they're arguing and pushing Clint off the cliff. And Natasha just going, no! Like, what did you do? And
it'll be like, you're welcome.
It had to be done. Like, it was.
And now Tia got to go tell the kids.
Yeah,
right.
That's fine.
Right. And look, wait, time out. And then it's Tia just lying like, you guys hear that Thanos guy? So crazy. He just pushed your dad off the cliff. I don't even know what happened. It's so crazy. It's like, Tia, you you pushed.
No.
No, not me. Why would I do that? No.
I want Steve to be captured and become Winter Soldier. That's what I want.
What if Steve was?
That'd be so
I thought that was gonna happen. I'm like,
want.
that would have been, because then they could have still done. He could have been like beefed up Steve, but he would have been like bad Steve. And I'm like, ooh, that would have been so interesting.
Yes.
It would have been because here's what would have made that. Here's what would have made that even sadder. Bucky would have died of old age, quite like how Peggy did.
Yeah.
So he would not have seen the evolution of his friend becoming this villain and then his friend becoming ultimately a good guy. He would have been dead. So it would have been reverse, but Peggy died, so she never got to see what happened to Bucky or really Steve after that the events of the crash. So that would have been interesting. That really, really, really would have been interesting. Seeing Steve do that knife trick from the Winter Soldier, that would have been awesome. And then the shot of him holding the shield and us going, yeah, you're Captain. But anyway, Jamie, I'll go to you. What were your thoughts on this episode of What If?
Oh my gosh. I have been looking forward to this since they announced it, and it hasn't disappointed so far. I really enjoyed the episode, and I like the way that they kind of changed things, but made it so that way it was believable. Like, oh yeah, this definitely could have happened if like things had been swapped. I especially liked that Peggy, the way that she fought with the shield was so much different than the way that Steve fought with the shield. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And that she put her own flair on it. And it kind of felt like there was kind of a sense of showmanship when she was fighting. Like, yeah, I'm a badass. Boom. Like, she was definitely having fun with it a bit, which is cool to see. And I also like how Howard was involved more with it. It was interesting to see him kind of like play a different role in that. And even like get onto the battlefield at one point, which was funny. And then I understand why they did this, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't generally like when it's always like, oh, this is the guys' room. Like, no women allowed. You're lucky to be here, blah, blah, blah. And it just makes it worse because I watched Jungle Cruise like last week or something, and they always kept calling her pants, pants, pants. Like, what are you doing with your pants? Like you and your pants. I'm like, oh my gosh, Disney, why you gotta do this 2 weeks in a row? But I understand why they did it, so I'm not mad about it. I'm just like mad at the times, I guess. But yeah, this was just a really, really good episode, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah, and it's funny because the guy that kept saying that Peggy was lucky to even be there was not an original character from.
Yeah, that was another thing too. I'm like, was he in the first Captain America? I don't remember you.
The only reason he had the power he had is, remember Tommy Lee Jones' character. He had that position, but in this, he died. He died once the explosion happened. He got shot. So once he died, this guy is the one who took over. I believe Tommy Lee Jones would have been skeptical as well, but more so just like, you know what, we got a war to win. Fuck it, man, woman, dog, cat.
I know, and he's the one who kept saying like, "Don't waste the time. Like, somebody do it, do it." And then she did it, and like, "What did you do? Why did you do that?" She's like, "You said do it."
Right.
Like, what do you want?
He's like, "No, I meant a man, not a woman. What are you doing?" But I love how Stark is just like, "I push buttons. Sorry,
Yep.
Can't help you."
Like he said, do it. I just push the button.
Yeah, that's it. He's like, if I jump in, who's gonna hit the button? It's like, well, you could just tell me. No, I can't. It's just too.
Can you imagine him doing that though and being that? Oh my god, the ego.
Think about it.
He already had.
Think about what Stark said in the first Avengers movie. How annoying his dad was about Captain America. Picture if his dad was Captain America. It's like, oh, Dad, shut up. I get it. Like, oh no, technically he wouldn't. No. Shit, that wouldn't have happened. He would have been frozen. I just realized that. He would have been frozen. Even though I believe Howard is smart enough to go, no, I don't gotta fucking jump in that water. Like, I'll find another way to stop this thing from exploding. But no, I mean, it's just really interesting to see how much things change. Red Skull died, didn't disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got, it looks like. Say it again.
Okay. I said, who's that Vormir?
No, I mean that changes things. That does change things. It's interesting. Who is there, Vormir? I don't know if that Shumagorath was the monster that was protruding out of the.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I'm like, why is Cthulhu? What is going on? Like,
if it's Shumagorath, I think is his name. That's who's reportedly the villain for Doctor Strange 2. He looks all right. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna say there's any connections here, but if that is the villain, he looks just like Starro. So it'll be really interesting to see them. Wow. Suicide Squad just came out. That'll be coming out early next year. I mean, their abilities work completely different, but they look almost identical. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see fans go, wait a minute, hold on. James Gunn, what did you do? Did you steal from them or did they steal from you? But no, this was, like you said, Jamie, this was very interesting because, you know, you assume there's more building blocks to go with this. You know, clearly she didn't have to crash a plane like Steve did. You know, so it's like, what does the world look like having an actual Captain America for this entire time? You know, from then all the way to now.
They don't though, right? They don't. She goes in that portal and comes out 70 years later.
No. Oh, that is right. Yeah. You are right. So that was her version of being in the ice. So she went and said, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So you know what, Trayvon? I will pass it to you.
I thought it was great. I love how she was fighting because it reminded me of Winter Soldier. How in that I feel like Cat was the most brutal in that movie in Winter Soldier to me. The way he fought, that's how she was fighting in this. Just very much, I don't care if you're normal, I'm still gonna hit you as hard as I can. That's what I was getting from this. I was like, oh, she didn't care. Like, these people are dying. Like, this is over. I I really enjoy that about her, and she is just as what I'm looking for not thoughtful. I don't know, like she very much the same as Steve. Like they're very much really good people while they're doing it, and very they care like as they're doing it. Like I was saying, if Stark did it, it would have been a completely different thing. It would not have been so like this. When he got that suit, I love the robot suit. I love when she was riding on it with him. Like when you were that was amazing. I love that. I was like, this is great. Howard, he it's funny, just great. I was happy to hear that Dominic Cooper came back to do the voice for that. I love the Agent Carter show. So when I heard about this, I was like, oh yes, great. Please bring her back. Bring her back. Do everything with her. I really didn't like when they had her as an old woman and dying and stuff. I was like, come on, man, bring her back. Like we need her back in her age now. Like I'm so happy about this. So I'm really excited. Hopefully they do this live action. Hopefully they see that people love her so much that they actually do it because she can. I don't see why she couldn't do this. Let's see. Red Skull. I mean, getting killed. That's what he gets.
That's what he gets.
Let me see what else.
Which, by the way, can I jump in really quick? I think it's really cool that I forget his name or how to pronounce it, so I don't want to like butcher it. But the guy from The Walking Dead who has voiced Red Skull for both Infinity War and Endgame, I like that they're able to get him back. I mean, he sounds so similar to the original guy, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Let me see what else. It was so funny when he was like, I unleashed the almost I don't know, I can't remember what he said, but I just thought a mascot of Hydra. That's all I can think in my head. And I was like, okay, and it kills him.
The champion.
Wonderful.
Of Hydra.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I was kind of thinking he made a Hydra at first. I'm like, oh no.
No, but what you were saying before, Trayvon, that was the one thing that I was very impressed with this episode. That one shot of Peggy landing on the plane and then rushing through the plane, coming out the back of the plane, and then that one shot, to be able to do one shot in animation is very tricky. It's tricky to do in live action, but damn sure tricky because you have to draw that in one shot. That's what makes it a lot more difficult. You have to draw the animation of it in one shot. That was all one shot. It's the equivalent of if you watch the Daredevil hallway scene. That's a one shot.
That's one reason why I'm really glad they decided to go with I'm pretty sure everything is 3D models in this show. It might be if it's 2D, I would be super impressed, but I think it's all 3D models, so it does give them a little bit more leeway to do shots like that, which was really awesome.
Yeah, it looked awesome. I mean, her, like you said, Trayvon, her jumping and then landing on Hydra Stomper was awesome. I mean, the whole shots. But I mean, I want to go back to what you originally said. Because DC used to get shit for this, but no one ever talks about it with Marvel.
What?
Sharon killed a shit ton of people. I mean, just using the shield to stop the car.
Yeah, definitely
killed at least 4 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Batman drove his car through another car, but Sharon was just like, no way anybody survived that crash. And then she threw the car.
No. Can I? All right, I have to. Hey, I do have to interrupt really quick, and we don't have to get into this, but Batman's whole thing, his whole mantra is that he doesn't kill. They never said that for anyone in Marvel. None of them, did a little pinky swear and said, we don't kill, so they have free range. I'm just saying.
That's fair, but I will say Zach's Batman never said that. Zach's Batman was very, very adamant on, no, I kill. Yeah, I kill sometimes. But we do know Captain America prefers not to kill. It's the last resort. So that's why I compared the two, because it's just like she didn't even try to find another. It was just like
even that motorcycle throw, they were gone. I was like, well, they're done. Whoever's in there,
they won't be back in rush hour.
It could be to what Jamie was saying. It's the time. So if she's getting shit on by all these dudes for being alive because she's a woman, She was like, "Oh, I got powers now. Fuck all y'all. You gotta go."
Yeah,
Like,
it could be that. It could also be like, oh, if I leave them alive, they're gonna be like, oh, she's soft. She's a woman. She left all those dudes alive. That's stupid. So she, I guess, just solved that problem.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Sure, she made an impact.
It's like an Inglorious Bastards, you know what I mean? Like you can't leave the Nazis behind. So sorry, bro.
Yeah, she was just like, she was vicious. That shot of her jumping down was just like, woof.
You know what they say? All's fair in love and war. So
yeah, I mean, look, hey, when you're fighting a war where they clearly will kill you, I understand you killing them. This is no judgment. Right. I was just saying it was a lot of murder. It was just a lot. I mean, hell, in the one shot we were talking about, she threw the guy out of the plane. There was no parachute.
Yeah, she sure did. I was like, oh.
It was just like, oh my God, Peggy. Okay. Meanwhile, Steve was just like, yep, that's the love of my life right there.
That's my woman.
That's my woman. Oh, man. But no, I do love how much this movie was similar to the actual live action first Avenger, but it just flipped it. It was just literally just an alternate. If they just swap, even Peggy saying how much she misses the taste of whiskey, but it really doesn't even have an effect on her. That's back to the line of Rogers telling her when they were in that little shack of like, this does nothing to me. like I could drink 90 of these and it would do nothing to me. So I really enjoy how much they stuck true to the actual movie. But like I said, just flipped literally just a few things, a few small things. Even when Bucky was falling off the train and she grabs him and goes,
rip my arm off.
Almost took my arm off. And it's like, almost Winter Soldier, almost.
And this guy right here, like that was cool too. Like narrating.
Uatu, that's his name.
Yeah.
Uatu.
Okay.
Uatu.
The Watcher. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was really cool too. I was like, oh, okay, this is neat. I just want to know, like, is this whole season just every episode completely separate, or are any of them like gonna like come back down the line and continue the story, or is it? We saw her at the end, so it's like you guys have to like follow through. Like, I need to see how that goes. Like, I
wish.
I'll say, I'll let either Dom or Tia say it because I don't think we can, because we have seen.
Oh, I forgot about
a few of them.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
you kind of don't want to make it seem left or right, and then we get in trouble for spoiling.
Never mind. Sorry.
So I'll just say next Wednesday.
It's okay, Trayvon. Let me spoil everything for you on. No,
I feel like the way that at least they presented it, I don't think they're gonna continue, or at least I feel like there's not so much a great chance, just because it's like there's so many what if stories that they could do, that to like please everybody, in case like maybe they didn't like the first episode, or they are like, okay, cool, on to the next. They can cover as many bases as they can. But I was thinking about that because I'm like, I would really love to see like more of this. Like if they could have had like a whole series on just like what if Peggy Carter was like Captain Britain or Captain Carter, whatever, I would watch that. So
yeah.
So wait, let me ask you this. Are you asking us, is Captain Carter in every episode, or does each episode connect to each other?
I just want to know if every episode is going to be like a anthology, I guess. Like none of them are connected. Because I know they said, from what I've seen so far, that next week is T'Challa being, I forgot his name right now because I don't like
Star-Lord.
Okay, yeah, that character. Yeah, it's going to be him. But hopefully it's better than.
Well, then I'll say this. I'll say this because it's not a spoiler. Approach What If and what they're doing with this season the same way you approach the MCU. So, like how you didn't see Stark in the first Avengers movie, but you saw somebody that was connected to Stark at the end of that movie. So the connection is more long term, more so than your short term.
Everything.
So it's a building block.
Didn't they say though, some representative of Marvel did say that either they'd like for us to see more Captain Carter, or we should expect to see more Captain Carter in some sort of media, whether it be in this animated series, or even if they decide to bring her back in live action. I could have sworn I heard something like that.
I would love that.
Yeah, I did hear that also, Tia. I mean, you started with it, so I doubt that it was meant to be a one and done. I doubt that.
Someone in the chat said Captain Carter is going to be like the lead character throughout the entire show. I wish. I feel like that's not the case, but that would be interesting.
I feel
see like threads connected.
Yeah, I feel like since we saw how the Loki series or that season ended, and where there's like all these fragmented multiverse, I feel like this is possibly like just like a peek into, you know, kind of these separate universes because of everything fragmented off into different directions.
I did see, I think as one of the showrunners confirmed that all of these like what if scenarios, they are kind of a part of the Marvel canon, but we just don't know how yet. So there's a possibility for like any of these scenarios to develop into something bigger if people enjoy it, or if they've already like have some kind of idea to bring it into the MCU.
I think it'll. Okay. I was just gonna say I think it'll go more so to secondary characters, because we know that Peggy can't be truly made canon because you just spent a whole series making Falcon Captain America. So we know that can't live within true canon. But while you're in a multiverse, anything's canon because it lives within its own universe.
Well, I just imagine that what, you know, spoiler alert, I guess, for anyone who hasn't seen the Loki series, but I just assume with the Loki series ending, we see all of the branches and all of the multiverses coming, that this show is to show us what is going on within those multiverses. So this Peggy doesn't exist within the mainline MCU. She's in her own timeline. But who's to say that she doesn't pop up from her timeline into the main MCU timeline? Right. Who knows? So that doesn't necessarily erase what happens with Sam. That's just an addition.
No, I was just saying her story being canon couldn't really exist because in our canon, it was Chris Evans, Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
but if you
it's a different timelines canon.
Right. If you wanted to just play around with it, that's why I said I want everybody who is so gung-ho about the multiverse to get it all out of your system now. So once the shit is closed, it's closed.
It's not going to be closed, Juan. It's the future.
It's never closing. It's never closing.
It's going to close. This is not a long-term thing. I guarantee.
Yes, it is. Yes,
all right. All right. When it gets closed in Doctor Strange 2, you guys are like, oh, God.
If they close it that early, I'm going to be really mad. Like, come on, man.
I mean, why would you extend it? Why would you extend it beyond that?
Why not? Purpose. Let's have fun.
That's what I'm saying. Enjoy it now. Let you enjoy it from now.
Isn't Doctor Strange supposed to come out like this year or next year? Yeah. That's like half a year.
Right. No, right around the corner.
That's all you need.
The Arrowverse had years of multiverses. We deserve years.
No. The Arrowverse had.
They introduced no. They introduced a different world in the second season of Flash, and then they introduced like a third world in another Flash. They've had the multiverse for years.
Oh, well, that's different. That was self-contained. That wasn't like you didn't see that in Arrow and then see that in anything else. That was just the Flash traveling to different multiverses. If you want to have
something like that,
if you want to have Doctor Strange travel through different multiverses and it's self-contained, be my guest. I don't need it open. I need it contained. So I don't have different scenarios of, well, this could have. No, it can't. It can't. What's here is what's here. We're not talking about, well, you could just replace this. It's in my mind, time travel, scrolls, and multiverse are all scapegoats to writing. It's an easy way of just saying like, oh shit, Steve died or Iron Man died. Could have been a scroll. Or oh man, Cap retired. We can just go back in time. No. So when you close that off, it completely eliminates the possibility of any of those things.
Now,
it has more levity to it.
I saw people saying about the Sharon thing, like that she could be a scroll, but I was like,
she already showed us that she's not a scroll. Why would she need facial technology if she was a scroll? She would just change her face.
I guess that's true.
like as soon as I saw that, I was just like, well, that's stupid. You could have just made her a scroll. Do you know how hard hitting it would have been if she came out of the White House after she was pardoned, and she went to like a corner to have that same phone call, and then her face turned green? We would have lost our shit. We'd be like, oh my God, she was a scroll. That makes sense. Right. It makes sense. Yeah. But because you didn't do that, no. She had a whole facial technology when she could have just switched her face. It makes no sense. So to me, no. I think once scrolls get in, really we really try to get into Secret Invasion, it'll be interesting because you can't really use any big players. You missed your shot with Nick Fury, and now you just missed it with Sharon. But go ahead, Dom.
Nah, I was gonna say I feel like at some point they're gonna like stop the What If series, but I think what might end up happening if it is a success as we foresee it to be, they might just kind of they have Disney on Disney Plus, they have the little show like the Marvel 616, just kind of explaining MCU. What if they just kind of like keep or create like Earth 1610 and just kind of keep that as its own separate series because people want to see different things play out. It'll be separate to everything else that we see, and it just kind of be like an offshoot of like, oh, this is a fun show where all this craziness happens. It's just a different Earth. You know what I mean?
Well, no, you don't even have to do that. What if the comic was always meant to just be that? Let's just have fun on the idea of what if people did know Daredevil was blind. Right. It wasn't like, oh, this is an alternate world where people. No, it was just let's just have fun. They were kind of one-offs. They weren't really like long-standing comics. They were one-offs. So what if could last until the MCU dies? Because there's so many different things we could have alternate worlds of. I'm just saying once they said what if for season 1 is in the multiverse of what Sylvie just opened, that's when I was just like, I don't need that premise to last long. You can still have your fun. Just again, capsulize it. I
mean, I think this could be good for people seeing like characters that are popular but not necessarily add to anything, like Spider-Gwen, you know what I mean, or Gwenpool or things like that, where they have their little comic runs, but we don't expect them to be in every Avengers or any kind of long. Right. I get what you're saying.
I mean, because if you want to have fun, like what if Ned got bit instead of Pete? I don't want that to be a multiverse scenario where you actually try to play it out. Like, no, just have it for fun. It's just fun. It's like, putting different toys together when you were young. You're just having fun. So to me, what if could last for as long, like I said, as long as the MCU lasts. Tia, before I pass it to you, let's read a few of these comments here. Captain Carter is going to be, Jamie read that, like the lead character throughout the entire show. Huge shouts out to listener Jim and All in the Game. Geek Vibes podcast, rumor of Captain Carter cameo in Multiverse of the Madness movie. I did hear about that. That would be interesting. Listener Jim, we do not talk about that character anymore. We've moved on.
Which character is it?
We've moved on. All in the Game says the Sharon reveal was bad writing. I agree. I All in the Game. I've been saying that for forever.
I don't agree, but
I've been called a hater the entire time.
Sorry.
I'm with you. Yeah, it was terrible writing. And you know what? Let me defend that All in the Game. It's being made to seem as though it was bad. We feel as though it was bad writing because it was Sharon Carter. It was bad writing because you did nothing, absolutely nothing, to set that up properly. You actually went out of your way to make it not make sense. And it's just like, well, you could have just had her go, all right, guys, let me help you the best way I can. She doesn't really help them. And then you get to the end and it's like, oh, shit, she screwed them over. It was her. But the fact that she led them to things that led them to other things was just like, well, what? Like, huh? What?
Because yes, she's turned into the bad guy, but those are also her former friends. I mean, she's a conflicted villain now at this point.
Yes,
no.
exactly.
No,
exactly.
No, thank you. No, thank you. That makes no sense.
We'll see more of her in the movie. We'll see more of her in the movie. I can't wait.
We will. Me either. I'm with you, Trayvon.
Very good. Very good.
Do we ever get confirmation in the Loki series if that was actually Peggy coming through that portal? Because maybe that was her being plucked out of a timeline where she has become Captain Carter. I'm just muddying things up a little bit.
That would be funny.
But I love that. That's hilarious.
That would be funny. That would be good.
That actually, I want to know.
I hate you muddying
Because
things.
it did kind of look like her when they showed it.
It
It
did.
looked like Peggy. I'd love to see the actress bulking up and becoming a freaking Captain Carter. That shit would be amazing.
It really would.
Animated Captain Carter is what I wanted like Captain Marvel to look like. Did you hear that? Sorry.
No. I'm always of the mindset of I don't know. I'm very particular when it comes to that. Too much. The comics can draw someone to look very muscular, and it's appealing because it's a drawing. Excuse me. I never want to see that in live action. Like everyone that was just like they wanted Gina as Wonder Woman. I'm like, why do you want Wonder Woman that? What? I don't even want my Batman and Superman that big. Like,
I think the point is for that is it makes sense for Captain America and Captain Carter to be kind of buffed up because they get some kind of serum put in them that kind of boosts them up.
Sure, right.
Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, even their powers aren't like they aren't like that. They have like super strength. That's I don't know. It's not physical. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's weird. It's not like. It's not like Captain America.
And plus, Captain America got an older version of the serum, so he had to get bigger to get that kind of strength. Whereas in the show, it's like they didn't become bigger; they just were stronger and faster. So,
I mean, I look at Chris Evans and I go, okay, you go that route, but to me, it's like it's a comic book, so you can just get away with saying the serum just made him stronger. You don't have to physically show me he got muscles for him to be strong. You just say he's stronger. I mean, when you look at Wonder Woman in the comics now, she's the same size as Gal Gadot. You don't need to see her brolic as hell to believe she could pick up a tank. So that's why I'm always of the mindset. I don't need to see that in live action. It's just weird. Like picture how buff Ben was, how buff Henry is, and if Gina was standing next to the two of them at the end of BVS. That looks weird as hell. I don't want to see that.
I still think that it's
way too
fine.
much muscle.
I still think it's fine, but we've had this conversation before where it's like there are women out there who are muscular, and physics do say that like the bigger muscles you have, the more you can do. Like I can't lift a whole shit, but someone like Gina Carano probably freaking could. So to me, it's like I wouldn't mind seeing that play on. The big screen, but it's whatever. It's such a nitpicky thing. I just always think about it.
I mean, you said it before, Tia. Representation does matter, and I agree. I agree. There are really buff people that are like, hold on.
Yeah.
But I will say, I don't know that anything Ben did exercise-wise, Christian Bale couldn't have done. And Christian Bale was nowhere near as built as Ben was. So to me, it's just the idea of it's comics. It's supposed to suspend belief, meaning there's no reality to it. So I don't need my person to be that damn big if you're telling me he can fly and stuff.
I'll only say one thing about Christian Bale's Batman. When he did Batman Begins, it was like 4 or 5 months after he filmed The Mechanist, where he was like 120 pounds. So I'm just saying that's not a lot of time for him to, gain weight and build muscle. But the other movies, I understand there was more time for him to get bulkier.
Yeah, but to me, you pick up any comic book, Batman does not look how Ben looks. That's an aberration. Batman never looks that damn buff.
Well, you know what though? On the other side though, because it is suspending belief, sometimes you just want to go to the movie and see people who look unreal. You know what I mean? Like, man, how you get the pack like that? How you get the traps like, you know what I mean? So sometimes you want that extra, and that's what makes it that much more, spectacular.
You want to go and you want to see like Dragon Ball Z level.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's another thing. Me and Joel have talked about this forever, of bringing Dragon Ball Z to life. In that,
difficult.
In that's not like I again, he's an alien. I don't really need the extra belief of that this alien is super strong. I could have him be obviously not super skinny, but a regular build, and it'd be believable.
No, it'll look off for Dragon Ball Z now. I think we kind of need that.
When you look at the manga, when you look at their muscle sculpture, it's not. They're not.
Nobody's looking at the manga though, Juwan. That's what I'm saying. Like it's the cartoon.
If you look at the cartoon, they're not that huge.
They're really huge.
I think
have you not watched the original Dragon Ball Z?
They are not that big.
Like Krillin's the only one that's small. I think
it's like 6'6". Go ahead, what you saying?
I think like Broly is the only one that's like super huge and muscly in Dragon Ball Z. Right. Everybody else is like, they have more realistic physiques for like if someone was like really active and they were like into weightlifting or whatever, they did CrossFit. Like I could see
WWE wrestling.
Like let me say this. Let me say this. The more you guys keep going with the logic of these guys having bigger bodies, you're gonna get us a Rock as Vegeta. Like we don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that.
He's not the right height. He's not the right height for
that. We don't need that whatsoever. I don't want that. Now I will say, Frieza. When Goku turned Super Saiyan, they were fighting on Namek. Frieza got big as shit. But there's other ways to show that off. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Chris Hemsworth's physique compared to Chris Evans, he's not as big as Chris Evans is muscle-wise. He's ripped for an individual his size. But in the comic book, Thor is built-ish. I mean, he is big. But you look at Chris Hemsworth and you're like, realistically, that makes more sense.
There's a video of Kumail Nanjiani talking about getting in shape for his role in the turn. I think it was it's on YouTube, you can look it up, but he says that when you see some of the guys, they look very big, but they're not as huge as you think they are. It's just the certain angles and shadows and the definition that makes them look that big. But of course, like Henry Cavill is a big dude in general. So when he gets big, he looks that much bigger. But like he said, Chris Hemsworth is not as gigantic as you would believe. It's the proportions, smaller legs, bigger arms. So they're not completely gigantic. They just, the way they are defined looks that much more bigger.
Right. Let's see. Hold on. All in the Game says, given that Madripoor is in Asia, could have connected Shang-Chi to the MCU by having Mandarin as the power broker. Yes. Yes. All in the Game. Yes. Would have built extra hype for the movie. Yeah. I mean, what makes it even more confusing, All in the Game, that huge scene between Abomination and Wong takes place in Madripoor. So yeah, I said this before. You dropped the ball. Would have made a whole lot more sense, you connecting the dots. Especially when you're saying the Mandarin goes back all the way to Iron Man 1. It would make perfect sense that he is that instrumental in where the MCU is going forward.
I'm telling you, they don't want to play anything big in these TV shows.
Wait, say it again?
They don't want to play anything big in these TV shows. That's why we got He Who Remains and not Kang. Like, I'm telling you that.
Well, no, I think we didn't get Kang because that look, you want to show that look in where he's supposed to be, but that actor is showcasing that they are willing to go big. And the actor that's Mandarin to mainstream isn't as big of an actor as what's his name is. So to me,
technically you can say that the Sharon Carter reveal was unexpected, because if they would have went with the Mandarin, then you would have been expecting it. So,
Well, no, I only said it should have been the Mandarin after I saw the first Shang-Chi trailer, where you see the same paintings on the wall as Madripoor, and I was just like, well, goddamn, it was right there. But if I didn't see that, there would have been nothing to lead me to believe it was Mandarin. That would have legit caught me off guard. Like, what? The Mandarin? Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, Tia, before we get into wrapping this up, I want you to give your thoughts on this episode of What If.
All right. Well, hopefully my internet doesn't completely crap out as I'm saying this, but I absolutely loved this episode. The animation style was beautiful. I love Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. Big fan of Westworld, so that was all. Whatchamacallit, hearing Haley reprise her role as Peggy. I love the thing that what is so cool is that the What If was almost realistic. Like the way they set up, it flows so nicely. You didn't sit there and go, that's stupid, or why would they do that? Well, in the original, it just flowed so nicely, all the explanations of why she took the serum instead of Steve. I absolutely love Peggy and Steve's relationship in this like reversal. It was so cute. As Trayvon said, I loved whatchamacallit, I froze, sorry. Sorry, I froze there. As Trayvon was saying, I loved Dominic coming back to voice Howard. That was great. Sebastian Stan reprised his role as Bucky, right? That sounded like him. Yeah, they're also awesome. I loved everything. You guys said it perfectly. The story was beautiful. Animation was beautiful. I was so immersed. It gave me that same sort of excitement from when I watched the first Avenger movie. And yeah, no, I mean, I totally loved it. I thought that she looked great. I will agree with Juwan that it did confuse me a little that she had the Britain flag. I get it. She's British. I totally get that. But I thought it was supposed to be a what if she became Captain America. Instead, it really was just what if she got the serum. So, I mean, again, it makes sense. The costume I thought looked awesome. It would have been cool if she was Captain Britain. But either way, I love this. Jawan and I spoke about how much we love this show. And I'm not going to talk about, obviously, the upcoming episodes that we were able to see. But this first episode alone, an amazing introduction to the show, and I never thought I'd be so excited for an animated series, but I'm super excited for an animated series because of What If. I mean, this whole thing is so beautiful, and I will say this confidently, this is the best Marvel show on Disney Plus. This is the best that they've given us so far, and I say that so confidently because I love the story. I was so excited about it. It was so much fun. It got me so giddy about being a Marvel fan again. That I loved it. So yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10. I know that's like being really generous, but that's how much I love this. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, really all we can say going forward is if you love this, you are not ready for the next one. The next one will give you laughter, excitement, and you will cry. I cried literally probably once the episode started all the way to the end of the episode.
The end of the episode definitely made me tear up when you texted me and you're like, it made me cry because I was halfway through. I'm like, why is Jawan crying? I'm like, this is great. And then I was like, I get it.
And then so these next few weeks, because we only got to see 3 weeks, so we know nothing beyond that. These next 3 weeks will have you guys as true believers if you're not already. I'm not really trying to sell Trayvon and Jamie. You guys like this episode. This is more so to our audience who might have been like, yeah, it was cool. It was all right. You've seen nothing yet. It's only going to get immensely better. One weird thing is Chris Evans did not voice his his Steve Rogers. Another actor did, which is weird because he sounded really close to Chris Evans.
But that is... I don't know if you saw. I mean, I think it's the same thing with Tom Holland didn't.
Right. Yeah, Tom Holland didn't do
reprise Spider-Man. Scarlett Johansson didn't, and then also Dave Bautista didn't.
What he said
was on the timeline. Yeah,
mad. He was
mad.
You
know what's funny? When I saw he got upset, I was just like, well, if they didn't call Chris Evans, why did you think they were calling him?
I mean, I
don't think he understands the pecking order here. Like, if Chris Evans didn't get the phone call, which I believe he did, but again, we know he was filming that movie with the Russo brothers and Ryan.
The Gray Man.
Right.
Like, didn't they like, we don't want to pay them for this? They were
No,
like,
I
"Oh,
mean,
call him. We
I
called
don't,
him."
I don't even
Respect
think
it
it was.
though.
I don't think it was necessarily that. I really do think some of them might have been a scheduling conflict, and then others were just kind of like, "Do we really need Batista to voice this? Like, do we need it?" Nah, I don't think so.
I feel like if I put myself in Dave Bautista's place and I'm like, oh my gosh, like Disney didn't call me. What the frick is up with that? Like, no, he's not Chris Evans or Scarlett Johansson, whatever, but he's still an actor in his own right, and he still wants that same respect. So I can
It's
see
his
it.
part, and it's his character. Yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
probably remembered all of the smack he was talking when they fired James Gunn, and they're like,
well, I mean, I'll say this, Jamie. I understand why he's upset. I'm just saying his anger would be more understood if legit everybody got the call except for him. Then it would be like, all right, yeah, clearly something's going on here. But when you hear that most of the people didn't, not most, some of the people, and some of them being bigger names, didn't come back to voice it, it's like, well, all right, yeah, shit, it happens. You're about to be Drax in like what, 2 or 3 months when you start filming Guardians 3? Relax. Like, they didn't recast you. They just didn't use your voice.
He
Relax.
making sure we know this is his last one too. He keeps
that's why I said
like,
I don't listen to Dave Bautista, because he'll tell you how done he is with it, but then gets upset when he's not added to things. You got to pick a lane here, bro. Pick your lane. Because if I'm Feige, every time he talks, I'm just like, he won't be part of this. He won't be part of that. Okay, keep talking. That too. But yeah. So no, I enjoyed this episode. Last thing I want to say before we get out of here is Uatu is the name of the Watcher, not just the Watcher.
I'm never gonna remember that.
I only say that because I compare it to if someone called John Stewart the Green Lantern as if he was the only Green Lantern. It's I just like for people to have the information of the name. For example, Tia, JD refuses to call him Grogu. It's the child.
I do. No, he's Baby Yoda. Not even the child. He's Baby Yoda.
He does not call him Grogu, but that's fine. Whatever you want to call him is cool, as long as you have the knowledge of what his actual name is, and you just choose not to call him that. Not a problem. But for anyone who does not know, the Watchers are a group of beings that overlook, and as you heard him say, he can watch, but he cannot get involved. In the comics,
he can.
No, he cannot.
He really can't.
No.
He really can't.
I don't mean he physically can't. He physically could if he wanted to. Okay. But the last time they got involved with something, it caused this major disaster. So they took an oath never to get involved. Really, the only time the Watchers got involved, Uatu specifically, was to help the Fantastic Four defeat Galactus. That was because it's like, well, it's fucking Galactus. Like, we need somebody's help here. Outside of that, they just kind of sit back with their pull out chair and popcorn. They're just like, this shit's crazy.
I have a quick question. Wasn't there an end credit scene in one of the Marvel movies of the Watchers? Which one?
Yeah,
was
Guardians 2. Guardians 2.
It was Guardians 2. Okay.
Stan Lee was boring them to death.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was in it.
Yeah, Stan Lee was boring them to death.
Okay. I just wanted to remember.
I don't know if this will be explained in the show or not, but like, how do you become a Watcher? Like, where do they come from?
They're like higher evolutionaries. So they're like how you would explain Odin. They're just like they're beings of that stature, like the Eternals. They probably won't really ever go into him because here's the thing: no one knows that they exist. So, like, as we hear them narrating, Peggy doesn't know that the Watchers exist. Fury doesn't know that the Watchers exist. No one does. They're beyond all of space and time. They just kind of look down on us and just go, That's really it.
Humans are fucking up.
Yeah, that's really all they do.
And then the Watchers on top of that, just watching the TVA, watching everybody else.
Right.
Oh yeah, TVA going, we are the main thing, and we watch over time. Blah blah. And Watchers like, okay,
Yeah. I just picture the Watchers just smoking a cigarette and stuff is just happening, just like, whew, this is crazy. Ooh, y'all is crazy down there.
They did what?
Like, ooh, y'all see Thanos? Yeah, that's crazy. Come here, come watch. But yeah, so essentially they do sound really messed up. They do essentially just watch over all the chaos that ensues and just go, you guys got it. So it is interesting. It is very interesting. I am very curious to see if Uatu comes into the MCU live action. The way James Gunn made them look, it was terrifying. So I hope they kind of make them look a little bit better going forward. They looked like, oh my goodness. They look like Gerber babies. You ever see the Gerber baby on the cover of that? But just like a bigger head of the Gerber baby. Oh, bleh. Anyway.
But it would be really cool though to see Jeffrey Wright in live action in the MCU.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely would.
So, like, are the Watchers outside of the multiverse, or could there be a multiverse where the Watchers are like, we're like the second Avengers or the first Avengers team, and we're gonna do stuff?
They are what expands past all of time and reality.
Okay,
so it's not like in a different multiverse the Watchers helped out, and in that it's the Watchers are the Watchers throughout any multiverse. They remain constant. They're the one constant.
So they're like Nexus beings, kind of then.
Well, that they're like Tia was saying, they're even higher than what the TVA and Kang is to have you believe, because there were multiple Kangs. There's not multiple. I'm sorry. Let me be more specific. There's different Watchers, but there's not different variants of the different Watchers. They're all constant.
Would it be fair to say that they're probably taking bets? Like they got a Deadpool going on and everything?
Well, the only reason why I would say no is because they kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. It's just the idea of they just don't want to get involved, which will be interesting to see how the Eternals play out in that. If they have been around this whole time, how the hell did they just go like, no, I'm not.
You saw that, Dustin? Wow.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. And Thanos is our cousin. That's crazy. I ain't even thought it.
Well,
yeah,
that's like on a different level of like, why didn't Fury ever call Captain Marvel like all these years, you know?
Yeah, but to be fair, I did like that they said that in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's very specific on, don't call me because someone's robbing a bank. Like, it has to be something that if I'm not here to help, all of the world will be gone. Like, it needs to be something on that level. That's why I try to tell people Doctor Strange is not an Avenger. His focus is only one thing. It's the Sanctum Sanctorum and protecting all of reality. So he doesn't have time to go, oh man, Red Skull's causing craziness in Germany. Let me go help. Like, no, he's more so, wait, Galactus is on the way? Shit. All right, hold on. Like, all right, let me get dressed. Like, that's his focus is more so, it's bigger picture. Yeah, so like if there's another Avengers movie and let's say the bad guy is Doctor Doom, it wouldn't really make sense for Doctor Strange to be part of that unless Doom goes into where he did in comics and he becomes more interested in magic and he becomes a sorcerer. If they go that route, then yeah, you might want to call Steven and see what he's doing. But yeah, so look, a lot of crazy things are happening with Marvel. Shang-Chi is in 3 weeks? Maybe 2.5.
Oh my God, is that close?
It's that close. It is right around the.
Where are the tickets? Give me my tickets. Come on, let me buy my tickets.
Yeah, it's weird. They keep showing us footage, but the tickets haven't gone on sale. That is weird, Trayvon.
Come on.
Yeah, I see Tia. But Marvel is doing great things. Make sure you guys are staying up to date with What If each week, every Wednesday. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's Shang-Chi, and then the Eternals are in November because Venom is October. Yeah, so What If will probably last us until end of September, maybe, if that.
I'm a little worried about that. I don't know if Venom's in October. They keep saying this fall. Like there's no date in any of these trailers.
There's no date?
No, there's no date. They're keeping it open, and it's why I keep saying
Spider-Man's gonna get pushed.
Everyone that keeps rushing the Spider-Man trailer, I'm like, they're only not putting it out because if Shang-Chi doesn't hit, they have no faith that people are going to come out to the theaters for anything else. So Spider-Man will probably be a May or June release of next year. And Venom will probably be a February.
No, that wouldn't be as bad as holding back Black Widow, but that would hurt.
Here's the thing. I think it would be different now. I think they understand you can't continuously push it. So if you push it and people still aren't lining up to theaters by May of next year, they'll just have to do what they did with Black Widow, which will be harder because Sony shares the profits of that. So you got to do it in a way that appeases Sony also. So that's where it's tricky. If it was just Marvel, I think we would have had the trailer by now.
I also think it's like, I feel like Shang-Chi shouldn't really be the one to test the waters because like it is a new hero. So you're going to have to get a lot of people invested in that versus people have been talking about Spider-Man since the last Spider-Man came out. So I don't feel like that's a good benchmark, but I could see them like pushing it based on how many people go out to see Shang-Chi.
Well, Shang-Chi.
I was wondering. Okay.
I'm sorry, Trevor.
I mean, I was just gonna say that's why I see people wondering if they're gonna change Shang-Chi to be a Disney Plus premiere thing and theaters.
I think they're really hesitant to do that after the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit. Yeah, after everything that's going on with that.
I don't even think it's that tier. I think in their mind that was always going to be something that when it came to Marvel was a one and done. It was one of those things where it was like if they could have pushed that back again for just a pure theatrical release, they would have. But they understood they couldn't push it again, so that's why they split it. But the reason why I'm saying, Jamie, Shang-Chi is a perfect benchmark is people show up for Marvel. Doesn't matter what it is. If they know it, they don't know it. They know Marvel. They know the umbrella. So if people don't show up, they're not going to show up for Eternals either. It won't matter the more recognition of the characters. It'll just matter of they don't want to go back to the theater. So to me, I just finished talking to one of my idols, Christian Harloff. He agreed with me. Tia, he agreed with you also. He is starting to believe he doesn't need to be in the theaters for everything. And it's one of those things where I do think if you're a studio, you should have a 45-day release like we see Warner's doing with the theaters. And then after that, drop it on your streaming platform. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. I think people keep forgetting Live, Die, Repeat, that Tom Cruise movie, was a flop in theaters. Do you know why there's a sequel for that movie? People went out and rented it. They went out and rented it. That's where it got all of its money from. People rented it.
James Gunn even said, I forgot what movie he was talking about.
You're talking about Jaws.
Yeah, and he was like, I never saw Jaws in the theater. He goes, Jaws is only popular because it continues to run on Syndicate on TV. You know, and I think that people are not being realistic. We are still in the pandemic just because states said you don't have to wear masks indoors, and it's getting worse. Thank you. It's like it's getting worse. So it's like you have to be realistic. Do you want to make money or do you want to hold off? You know, make some. Black Widow, I think, has made close to $400 million worldwide. That's nothing to scoff at. I wish I had that money right now. Right? Just because a Marvel movie doesn't make $1 billion doesn't mean it's a failure.
Right. And as Christian said, just reduce your how much money you spend on these movies. Just reduce that. Just reduce it by $20-30 million. So that way what you're looking to make up isn't astronomical numbers. It's more of a realistic balance. It's why me and Dom have been saying this for years, and I know Dom's tired of hearing me say it. But A24 is legit the bee's knees out here because they're spending $4 to make movies and making $100 million in the box office. So it's like they crack the code.
You said A24, right?
Yeah.
You see that I see that they're doing the one-day streaming thing. We have to pay. And then the stream
but
again. I was like, it's kind of smart.
That's smart. Because I tell you what, you know why they're doing that? If more people sign up to do that one streaming day than they did in the entire theater run, they'll just say, fuck it. Let's figure out a way to put it on something streaming and either charge people for it or people have to buy the streaming service to watch it. That is a big movie. But again, it's not one of those movies that gets people into the theater. So you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like, you got to find something that works for everybody. And look, there are people that love movie theaters. They want to go to it no matter what. I champion those people. There are still people that buy physical CDs, people that buy physical DVDs. There's literally no reason to do either one of those. But if that's what you like, that's what you like. I hope that you still have an avenue to continue in. But for me, my lazy ass is staying at home spending $30 for Black Widow. So I am 100% okay if they say Shang-Chi, $30 yuan, you can watch it at home. Take my $30 now, give me my movie, we're calling it a day.
Yeah,
So
I don't see there's any reason to not have this hybrid policy going on. I mean, again, until things start evening out, they're not. People are too, and like, not to be on a soapbox or something, but you know, people are too quick to be like, oh look, the numbers went down a little, let's immediately go back to being around a crowded bunch of people. So I don't know, it's just
all in the game to you. I'm gonna go right to you, Dom. All in the game to you was backing you. He said Black Widow hit 400 million without even being shown in China.
Yeah, that's, I remember seeing that. It's like, it's like, damn, man, imagine if it was shown in China, it would make a buttload of money. And again, that's nothing to scoff at. That tells you all people around the world besides shown in China wanted to see this movie.
Yep.
Right.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Dom.
go ahead. I know my internet is crap right now.
I was just gonna say, like, it's somewhat you know, open. I'm in the South, so you know how the South is. So the stuff's been pretty open. I've gone to the theater 3 or 4 times. There's no one there. I've gone to opening of Snake Eyes, opening of Green Knight, and the most in there is 15 to 20 people. That's it. People are, as much as people down here especially say, I don't care, they're not going to these things. They're not going out to eat. They're not. People are gonna poke their chest out online, but in actuality, they don't want to get
scared too.
Your area is different than my area then, because like I'm also in the South, and I went to go have lunch with some of my friends, and I'm like, maybe it would be better if we sat outside. And then like everybody and their mom was sitting outside. I'm like, oh my God, like, do y'all realize this is a pandemic, or did y'all just wake up? What's going on? So yeah. The theater might be different though. I feel like a lot of people, especially now that there's streaming services like HBO Max and you can get the premiere access on Disney Plus, I think a lot of people are staying home.
Yeah.
I mean, there was about 4 of us at the Black Widow screening. That's
I will say this: theaters won't ever die. I think what scares theaters is they won't ever be what they were. And that's a fear. I mean, shit. Picture how Blockbuster felt. They was out here dancing like, yeah, we the shit. Ain't nothing better than Blockbuster. Then Netflix was just like, Netflix was just looking at them from across the room, just like, oh, you think? Okay.
Well, I mean, you can say the same thing about like Broadway plays, but Broadway plays still happen. They just but prices, so it doesn't matter if there's only like 10 people there.
I mean, I even told you, Tia, Broadway can find other avenues. Broadway could stream if they wanted to. I get a lot of enjoying Broadway.
Hamilton was a success.
Being there, right?
Yeah,
I get a lot of it is being
That's
there.
how I watched it.
But to me, I said this to you, Tia, when maybe not long after the pandemic really started to hit hard, and you were one of the first ones. I was just like, I really worry about Broadway. I was just like, well, you could legit just have your cameraman stream the event.
Well,
and just charge people.
When I say I worried for Broadway, I worried for the actors because they're not doing that. They're not streaming it. You know, I worry for then, but you know, if they decide to do that, then that would be great. Bring them back to work. That was the only reason why I said I was worried for them.
I was actually in a drama class last semester, and he was showing off some of the like Zoom plays that some actors had created because they weren't able to get on stage. So cool. Those were very, very bizarre, interesting experiences for sure. But it's definitely another avenue that they can go for. But it definitely isn't the same as like watching them on stage.
Heck, even do this. Even film it as a movie. Film it as a movie. Legit film it as a movie. Your budget doesn't even have to be that high. You're legit just filming it as they're going along. and you're putting it out as if it's a movie. You're giving it a theatrical release. There's just so many different ways to keep Broadway alive. There's not. It's like saying, "Oh man, I can't go on tour. It means my musical career is over." Dog, you could legit just drop a music video or some shit. Like, there's a billion different ways to get your music out there. It's not one avenue.
Yep. Rent yourself a football stadium, have a private event, and people be talking about it on the internet.
Shoot, do it from your backyard, from your mansion, and people will show up to watch that. It's a time now where people just like, I want content. Whatever you do to give me content, just give me content.
If Hollywood was smart, they would start accepting cryptocurrency as well as cash, because if you get, where there's Bitcoin or like Ethereum or something like that, the money can go up. So even if you made, a nugget, that nugget could turn to a boulder in a week or two, and then they just cash out, and you know what I mean? So they can make their money back easily if they, advance and evolve. Like Trayvon was saying, you got to, like we've seen jobs that were in the office are now remote because we're like, hey, we don't have to go back to what we're doing. So they have to figure out a way to evolve.
Sure. Dom's talking about cryptocurrency now, and in like a few months he's gonna be like, I'm a millionaire. I don't need
I got a little
Bitcoin
and Ethereum and Litecoin. I dabble.
I dabble a little bit. All right, guys, that's all we got for you. Last thing I want to say is I bought this. It's pricey, but it's worth it. I recommend it to anybody who wants to know information. I know a lot of you are going to say I can just Google it. To me, this is the purest way to get your information. Go get you guys the Marvel New Edition Encyclopedia. Over 498 pages of every single character in Marvel. And it gives you a full layout of legit everything. So, I'm trying to see here. So, like, if you wanted to know about Spider-Woman, right there. That's it. Everything you need to know. Her powers, her first issue, everything. Her real name, everything. And it even has some stuff about the multiverse in the back. So to me, DC has one, Marvel has one. See, it's dedicated the whole damn thing to the multiverse.
I got an Avengers one like that.
Yeah. That's what I was telling Joel. An MCU one is good because Feige will create someone that's never really existed in the comics or alter someone. So it's just good to have that information. And like I said, this is great because there's some characters that might pop up that I'm like, who the fuck is it? Or like, who are they trying to make that character as? And then you just look in here and you're just like, I see. Okay. And this is what you're changing. So to me, this was money well spent. This is not the brand new, but the newest edition with an amazing introduction by Stan Lee. And it's just a great read. It really is. It's just, like I said, over 498 pages. Every character you can think of, they're in here.
So since we're showing off our nerd stuff really quick, I have the wolf file. So, there you go. Everyone.
Wait. Show it again. You broke
Sorry. It's the Wolverine file.
So,
cool.
So there you go.
I'm like, what am I looking? Okay.
All right, we're showing our nerd books here, so there you go.
I like it.
I don't have anything near me.
Oh yeah, my book's over there.
Make sure you guys stay tuned. Titans premieres tomorrow.
Oh, does it? Oh my god!
It is tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in a week. We're in a week of geekdom. The finale of Bad Batch is Friday. Titans premieres tomorrow. I believe Titans is airing its first 3 episodes. And it's someone who has seen 6 of them. Prepare yourself mentally for these first 3 episodes. Is all I can tell you guys. It's some stuff, some crazy stuff. But I have spoke with Pete, and I think we're gonna put together a Titans review show. So stay tuned for that because there's a lot I gotta say. So I need to vent that somewhere. I can't take it all out on GVN Talk. So stay tuned for that. But I want to thank Trayvon, Dom, Tia, and Jamie for joining me on this review of What If. I want to thank everybody in the comment section. You guys are great. What was the name again? So I give him credit. All in the Game. And listener Jim, you guys are amazing. We appreciate you guys for carrying on the conversation. And look, Tia, Dom, myself, I just did one. We got so many interviews for you guys to just go and check out. I mean, just an influx. Go watch them, like right now. Like leave this and go watch our interview. So make sure you guys check that out on obviously our Geek Vibes podcast page. That's where you're watching this at. And stay tuned. Jamie has some stuff coming on her stream and maybe some stream stuff for GVN.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, real quick plug. Yes. So I did a charity stream last Friday, and my campaign is going to be ending Saturday morning. So technically like Friday at midnight. So if you guys want to support the Game Heads organization, they help underprivileged youth and youth of color get into the gaming industry, learn more about it, and even make their own games, then yeah, definitely check that out. I have it pinned on my Twitter page. So
absolutely, that's a great cause. Make sure you guys go check that out and support any way you guys can. However much you guys can give to it, please make sure you guys do and support. Trayvon has gotten back into videos finally. I had to use 2 of my 3 wishes to get back into making videos, so that was a little stressful, but he's here now. So Trayvon, let us know the new video you're dropping.
So today I did the video on, since the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 was announced today, I have the Z Fold 2, and I was kind of doing like kind of a comparison to see what the changes they made and kind of give them my idea on if you should upgrade if you have the same one I do. So I thought it was really fun to do. I like talking about this stuff, so that was fun for me. And I have a hard time ignoring tech like that, so I had to talk about it. So yeah, that's fun for me, and that's kind of it as I think I'm gonna do going forward. I'm gonna do that and some more like tech review videos if I get the tech. I'm not really buying everything like some of these people. But
sponsors, where you at? Sponsors.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, like I'm like, I don't know how y'all do this. It's a lot of money. And I'm also going to start doing like a weekly videos that's going to turn into a podcast as well, where I talk about all the nerdy stuff and the tech stuff that I've want to talk about during the week. So that's what I plan on doing.
Yeah, make sure you guys check that out. Trayvon also has one of the greatest intros that I've seen in a long time. So make sure you guys go check that out. But again, thank you guys and thank everyone for tuning in. We will see you guys next week for episode 2. And like I said, brace yourself. It's a good one.
It's so good.
It's a real good one. So we can't wait to break that down with you guys next week. We'll make sure we supply ourselves with plenty of Kleenex. But till then, peace.